Hey! Alright, so for today's very special video, I'm going to go through my top 15 favorite Geometry Dash levels made by me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to split all 15 levels into 3 categories. These 3 categories are going to be D tier, B tier, and S tier. Obviously, numbers 15 through 11 are D tier, 10 through 6 are B tier, and 5 through 1 are S tier. If you do want to see each of these levels, I will create a playlist of no-clip playthroughs of each level, and even those which already have playthroughs will be updated. These D tier levels are levels that aren't necessarily bad, but really aren't my favorite out of my decently large catalog. So, number 15 on my list, and my least favorite level, Frank. I hate this level. I absolutely despise this level's existence. I hate the fact that I thought that this level was good enough to be the only one to this day that I have entered into a competition. First off, there are just way too many bugs in this level. Just look at the background footage and you'll see what I mean. Each orb has to be hit at the first frame it's able to be hit, and that is just so annoying to play. And then comes the void part, and then an unoriginal boss fight. This level is the bane of my existence, and I am ashamed it exists. With that out of the way, now on to number 14. Number 14 is Bot Talk. This level is the perfect example of a good level idea that got ruined by my fat little 12-year-old brain. The song is good, the level concept is good, but the execution is absolutely garbage. For one, the beginning is an unoriginal city theme with undecorated spikes and unbalanced difficulty. Then you go into a sort of flashback into all the levels I had deemed worthy at that time to be featured in this level. This part would be good if the quality of each section were balanced. Just look at the X part, then the Space Invaders part, and you'll see why I'm complaining about this. The boss fight at the end sucks, and there's no getting around that. The entire level is poorly executed, and it sucks that such a decent level concept had to go to waste. Number 13 is Rise Up. While this level is one of my most important, demonstrating my use of actual common sense in my levels for the first time, that does not mean this level is a masterpiece. Actually, quite the contrary is true. Specifically, what makes this level so bad are the blind jumps, especially the one at 17, which kept me from playing the rest of the level. While my first uses of most triggers are pretty much successful, it does not do justice to the awful gameplay seen in this level. Number 12 is Space Invaders. This level is pretty good, except for the 15-second long opening with literally no gameplay and nothing to look at except green monsters that are barely on the screen. The rest of the level has barely anything resembling decent block placement, and even the drop doesn't bring anything new to the table. Basically, the only thing saving this level is the gameplay, which is only decent at best. Number 11 is Invisibility II. This is probably the most mediocre my levels will actually get. Every level before it are levels that I dislike, and every level after are levels that I like. Nothing really special about this one, with it just being a simple level with a simple gimmick with most of the blocks being invisible. It makes for pretty annoying gameplay, thus justifying its decently low placing on the list. Now we get into the B tier levels. These levels are the middle of the road. Not really bad, but not really the best either. Number 10 is Pursuit. This level is pretty good, changing themes lots of times, with each theme still fitting into the overarching theme of the level being absolutely garbage. Yeah, big surprise, I don't really like the lackluster block design and gameplay bugs this level sports. Speaking of gameplay, in this level, it's fast-paced, insanely annoying to play, and just a pain completely. But, I don't know, it just has some kind of charm that I can really get behind. Number 9 is Endgame. While this level is pretty good with decent gameplay, it has 3 glaring problems that bring it down a few spots. The first, and most obvious, being the fact that right before the drop, the level turns into a layout. All decoration completely quits, and we're left with an empty husk of a level. The second problem is how the beginning is completely impossible to play. Like, I get that it's supposed to be a hard demon, but like, that beginning is completely impossible. Speaking of impossible, that's just what the entire level is. Impossible! This level has parts that are completely too difficult, then backs them up with parts that are all too easy. There is no balancing in this stupid level. But it is my hardest level, and you do have to cut it some slack for that. Number 8 is Up. This level was my first ever attempt at a sequel, and I would like to think it went pretty well. It still captures the charm of its first level, which is coming up soon, and has a decent boss fight. Well, at least compared to Bot Talk. Number 7 is Hallows Eve. This level is weird in the sense that each of its two parts' strengths is exactly the downfall of the other. Let's look at the first part, the house. The deco in the part is simple but effective, but its one main downfall is the gameplay. The other part, which is the colorful part with the characters in the background, is the exact opposite. While being decently fun to play, it's a pain to look at. Number 6 is Retro. This is another gimmick level, with the gimmick being its use of many different themes. It switches quickly between each theme, keeping with the beat. While this makes for a visually appealing level, it makes the transitions between each part snappy, causing the gameplay to suffer. The next 5 levels are the S tier, the best of the best. These are the levels I am most proud of creating. Number 5 is Tokyo Takedown. I'm gonna be completely honest, I have no clue what I like about this level. I just know that I like it. A lot. Number 4 is Superstar. First off, the song for this level goes hard, so automatically it gets a high spot. But couple that with easy and fun gameplay and decently executed deco, and you have a pretty good level that stands the test of time. Number 3 is X. Speaking of levels that stand the test of time, X is still one of my favorite levels I've created. And for good reason too. It has a 1.0 style, making the gameplay easy to read while still being fun to play. The song is good without being too in your face. Top that on with the fact that it was made over a year ago, and you have a fantastic level. Number 2 is Down. Speaking of levels that were made over a year ago, I really need to stop doing that. Anyways, Down is another 1.0 level, again, making the level easy to read. But this level has 2 things about it that make it better than X. The first being the fact that it changes from 1.0 style by having the first part being another style that is not 1.0, varying the style and making the level easier on the eyes. The other thing is the sync. This level thrives in its sync, and it makes it extremely easy and fun to play at the same time. An all-in-all good level, especially for having been made in June of 2020. Now for number 1. Number 1 is Carol of the Bells. What is there to say about this one? The gameplay is simple and effective, with sync also being pretty good, albeit not as good as Down. Each part is decorated differently, with no 2 parts looking exactly alike. I think there's a reason that, out of all my posted levels, this one has the most objects. I actually put time and care into this level, which produced an amazing project, which is a far cry from Frank, which is last on this list. Carol of the Bells is a favorite level of mine, and I really enjoy playing it over and over again. Well, that's it. That's me ranking my top 15 favorite levels of mine. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, as that would help me out greatly.